Welcome, everyone. I am Baron Baptiste, and now is the time to awaken, to wake up. And this is a place to tell the truth and a place where the truth can be told. And given the state of the world, there is no question there has to be a real and deep awakening within each of us individually that will allow for all of us, for the world to awaken together. David Masters, how you doing, Dave?
Always great to be with you, man. It's you and I bounce off each other and we amplify the conversation. So I love doing this.
Yeah, I have fun doing this, and it's always it's like creative, right? We're creating here. We don't come in too planned. We have a question today, and you and I don't really even talk about what we're going to talk about. We just let it rip and roll. And I think there's something about just being in the present moment, listening and trusting the promptings that come up. Often people want to work off a script. They are canned. It's scripted and canned in such a way that you miss out on the gold. Because I think the gold comes from being in the present.
I think being able to be extemporaneous and just speak right off the top of your head, that's a gift. Like you say, most people want a script. Because their mind drifts so much. This name of this program is Disrupting the Drift. How many times has a person been in a conversation? It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, what did you say? I mean, their mind is constantly intruding, pushing in on them. And the stuff from the outside world entering in through the open door or the screen door on the submarine, and then intruding on your very thought processes and your capacity to think and act and be. Yeah, being extemporaneous is a side effect of living in the present. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah.
Right here, listening, speaking from what's right here, natural, uncanned. I remember back in the day when I had the Baptiste Institute, and we led a lot of trainings. I led a lot of programs, but I'd have brand people approach me, people who create brands for companies. And they're like, what's your brand? What's your brand? And I was like, the brand is actually what happens right there, like on a yoga mat where you see that person dripping sweat off their forehead and their muscles are shaking, and that's the brand. It's like real, it's present tense, present, real time, in the moment. That's the brand. And I think the world now, there's so much polished, fancy, social media and just in general, there's so much stuff that just, I don't know where the word polished keeps coming to mind, but it's like that. It's not real. It's not real. And so I think what I know I'm committed to is just being real and right here. And let me ask people to be a part of this transformative journey. And the way you can do that is subscribe to the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, is Baron Baptiste Podcast. Subscribe, leave comments, turn on the notifications, and be at the forefront right here with us. And share this with your friends, your family, and let's create a ripple effect of growth, empowerment. We're here to edify and enlighten. Yeah, share the show, please, and interact with us. We love that. Also, send your questions to disruptingthedrift@baronbaptiste.com, disruptingthedrift@baronbaptiste.com. And also, again, YouTube. Check out YouTube. You can experience this journey visually on YouTube at Baron Baptiste Podcast. So, David, we have a question, and here it is. The person says, I've been practicing living in the present, but I found myself worried about where I'm going in my life. My question is, what determines my future? Any insight from you is appreciated. It's a good question. What determines one's future?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic question. And the way it starts out, though, is interesting. I've been practicing living in the present, but I'm worried about my future. the two don't go together. They cancel each other out.
They do, right? Not
Right?
actually.
Yeah.
If you're worried, it's an indication you're not in the present.
And of course,
Right
I
there.
always say
Yeah.
that worry is a belief in a negative outcome. And it doesn't necessarily mean a negative outcome. You can't imagine the negative outcome, but it somehow your mind goes to the worst possible scenario when you worry. That's why you're worried, because you think something bad is going to happen. And when you go there, when you don't stay in the present and just let this, there's an old saying, this too shall pass. Stay in the present and you discover what's next. But if you drift and you get caught up in thinking and projecting about what's going to happen or what isn't going to happen, that's where you lose all your perspective. That's where you go into a place of doubt and worry and fear. And again, you start to worry and create a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And worry has a kind of scene to it, a kind of vision, right? It's the you're speaking to. It's the negative possibility. What could possibly happen negatively, and you're giving your energy where your attention goes, your energy flows. But it has images. Worry, because you're envisioning a future where things go wrong, where things go awry, and if that's what your attention's on, that's your vision. And my sense of this, one thing about, I've always been someone who attempts as much as I can, live in the moment, have faith, and take the actions that are consistent with where I want to go and who I want to become. Okay, that's in the realm of me being someone that's for being fullest in the present, but also being the fullest of myself, the fullest expression of myself for a future. But I'm not attached to where I'm going, but I have a sense of it. So I sense something that I want to do in life. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's leading a training. Maybe it's doing a podcast. Maybe it's upping my output and content creating on YouTube. Whatever it is. Maybe it's for in a relationship. Maybe it's relationship with family members. Maybe it's working professional relationships. Maybe those people that I want to work with aren't even in my life. I don't even know who they are, but I have a sense of what I want to do, a sense of the kind of people I want to be surrounded with. And then I follow the kind of that inner light, the light of conscience, so to speak, or the calling of my conscience. I'm using the word conscience, but you could say higher intuition or inner guidance or inner light that gives these promptings of take these steps, do these things, moving in a direction. And then anything that doesn't fit in that scene doesn't fit. And I don't allow for it to enter the scene or the picture. Maybe it's people that they're nice people, what have you. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe there's something about them doesn't match up about where the kind of people I want. And I just trust that. I trust my inner light, that inner guidance. And I keep putting one foot in front of the other, taking one step at a time. Sometimes you take 5-6 steps forward, then you take a few steps back, but it's still on a vertical climb, so to speak, or a vertical stepping towards the direction I'm sensing to go. And I'm not attached though. I'm not attached. I think people get so goal oriented. If you're overly goal oriented and you're so fixed on a goal, and maybe there are different kinds of goals. Maybe you have a goal to, I don't know, lose 10 pounds or 30 pounds, and then you're going to put the actions and needed to do that. You're going to organize yourself and orient your whole life, the way you're living toward accomplishing that practical goal. Fine. But I think that people get trapped in a certain picture and then it blinds them because they can get expectations about what it should look like, how it should be. And when it's not going that way, they end up frustrated, upset, angry, impatient. Again, it comes back to a kind of patience, right? The patience as a presence of something greater. And in that presence, you're also trusting. There's faith.
It's
not faith is a superstition.
Yeah.
As it says, is it in the Bible or somewhere it says faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like love without action is dead. It's in a sense you're moving in life, but you're also following something higher and having faith that things unfold in the right kind of ways.
So if you have faith in worry, you're always going to be right about what you're worrying about, because your energy goes where you put your mind, right? You're going to be right about failure. If you have faith that something good will happen, literally you're going to be right because your energy is going to move you in that direction. And so there's two paradigms here. First of all, stop worrying about looking stupid because nobody cares. Nobody else cares but you. If you look at yourself and you assess yourself and you say, gosh, I'm a loser. I haven't gotten where I want to be. I'm worried about what's going to happen. Nobody cares about all that. As a matter of fact, when you start to talk to people about the things that you're worried about, their eyes roll up. Have you ever noticed that? People don't want to hear what you're worried about. They don't care. So second of all, here's the other paradigm. Focus on what you can control. And what you can control is being in the here and now and not letting those worries. And as the person who wrote in said, I'm practicing being in the present, but I'm worried about my future. You can't do both. They cancel each other out. So you got to choose one place to stand, right? And stand on that place where you can focus what you can control. And what you can control is your reaction to the environment. You could control the thoughts that are going through your mind. And I give people this idea that's so simple. I do it with everybody I meet. It's a pink elephant. I say, think of a pink elephant. Now, close your eyes and focus your mind's attention down into your fingers and just become aware of your fingers until they tingle a little bit. And I do that for about a minute, right? And I say, now what happened to the pink elephant? Well, it's gone. Nothing can occupy the same space at the same time. No two things. Nothing can occupy what you put there if you take your energy off of it and you put it on something that has power, that has meaning, that has substance, that has potential. Take your mind off of the nutty, crazy, weirdo stuff and put it in what makes sense. And you can control the way you're reacting to the world. And that is the one thing that you can always realize makes sense.
Yeah, you said something about I'm hearing it like this. There are one of two places to be. You're either now here or you're nowhere.
Yeah,
you're lost in fantasy, in your imagination, but not creative. There's creative imagination, just like there's creative thinking, or you're doing deeper or bigger thinking about something, some problem, or you're figuring something out to sort something out. But different when imagination runs you. It's just that running imagination. And when you're lost in that, and consider that's where worry is, right? It's not real. And you mentioned something about talking about your worries with people. So I know for myself, I don't really share if I get into worry, and I can be a worrier, but I don't want to feed that. I know if I'm speaking about worrying, if I'm sharing that, that's what's getting created there. That's what's getting bolstered there. That's what is in a sense most real there, because now I'm getting a witness. I'm sharing it with someone. So they're witnessing, they're taking on that view. And actually, I don't want that out in the universe. I don't want that out in the space. Mm-hmm. So I'm mindful of letting worry go, and our words create a world. And so in your speaking, are you creating a world of worry and things going awry and things, and if that's what you're speaking about, that's the world you're creating for yourself. If you let that worry be in the background, step in front of it and speak into existence what the world you want for yourself, or what you sense, the direction you're moving into. Now, whether that's with another person or even with yourself, I spent about 3 hours yesterday morning. I created a few questions for myself, and I really just went deep into these questions. And I don't even remember exactly what the questions were, but they more had to do just with myself. Like one question was something around, who am I actually? And I wanted to create a line of communication with myself, a line of communication to my essential self, my real, no, who am I actually? Because there's a lot of different identity and accomplishments from the past. So what about all that? And then even identity about the future or how I want people to see me. No, I wasn't going there. It was like just between me, myself, and I. Who am I? And I wanted to just allow the time and space to do some deeper inquiry around, no, who am I actually? Who am I for myself? And then I didn't even let it go to then who I am for others. It was like, who am I for myself? Confident, trustworthy, reliable, consistent, generous. I came up with a whole bunch. And then I was like, how do I make this really known to myself? And so I wrote it out. I was journaling. I wrote it out. And I wrote it out just to get it out into the physical environment out on a piece of paper. And I left it there, but I wanted to be known to myself clearly. Let that get grounded in that, receive that. But it wasn't even a receiving because it's already who I am actually. But it was like a remembrance or something like that. And a son of God. And I just let that kind of sink in. Then I took my dog out for a walk and just let that sink in and just make myself known to myself. This is who I am for myself. And then I came back and I did another round of, is there anything, what am I doing that makes who I am real to myself? What am I doing that makes it real? Or what have I been doing that demonstrates this is real? Honest, truthful person. Another one was, I am a seeker and lover of truth. And then just reflecting on, am I living that way? Is there evidence? Are there receipts of that's who I've been for myself? Again, I did not allow myself to go. It's so easy to just go who I am for other people or how other people see me or who I am in my relations, more personal relationships, family, who I am in my work relationships. I didn't go out there. I just like purely an exercise of who am I? And those are more qualities. But then when it boiled down, it was like, I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God. And I'm a being, a spiritual being. And it just is a remembrance. That's all. And I think, though, when we get closer to who we are, and then maybe some of the qualities and values of who we are, then from there, that opens up a doorway to a future. Mm. And I don't even need to know what that future is, what that future looks like. But I know if that's who I am being for myself, then Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. Mm-hmm. Then as the night follows the day, you cannot be false to another. Now, I may interact with different people or people listening to this podcast and they don't like it. They don't like me. So what? This is who I am. And this is who I am for myself. And I'm being true to you, whoever you are, whether you like it or don't, it's irrelevant, but I'm being true and for myself first. Then there's a measure with others. But I think we have to start with self first, not different than selfish, but self first. And I don't think people look deeply enough at who are they and who are they for themselves. Full stop.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting and I appreciate you sharing that, because what I've discovered in that respect is I realize something which most people have a very hard time even approaching. And that is, and the person who said it best was Jesus in John 5:30. He
says
said
everything best.
He said it best.
Pretty good.
Here's what he says.
Yeah.
John 5:30. He says, I can do nothing by myself. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just because I do not seek my own will, but the will of him who sent me. Now, what I've realized is that I don't have what you would call that kind of self that the average person, because they look at their life, they look at all their accomplishments, they look at all their failures, they sum up themselves based on the criteria of this world that we live in and other people and other standards that were set by the world itself. And I don't live that way. And I really have to tell you that it's never been my thing. And so my prayer lately has been to my Creator, pour out your substance into me. And that's what I pray. When I go into my meditation, I want to have deeper insights given to me so that I can share those insights with the world. And I know that of myself, I can do nothing. Really, I can get up, I can brush my teeth, I can eat, whatever. Those are just perfunctory things. Those are robotic things that you do. Yeah.
Practical things in life.
Yeah. But the deeper things I have no access to without being revealed to me. So anyway, yeah.
No, I love that prayer. I often I don't verbally pray a lot, but I do a little. And it's pretty simple. It's just, God, who would you have me be? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do?
I love that.
Like that. And was it Jesus that said Jesus said this, of myself, I am nothing.
Yeah. It's John 5:30. Yes.
Is that it? But it's my Father is it my Father in heaven who does his works through me?
I'll read it again.
Yeah.
I can do nothing by myself. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just because I do not seek my own will, but the will of him who sent me.
Yeah.
And that's the essence, though, of if you're going to worry. Worry is a belief in something that isn't going to happen. Literally.
Or it could happen.
Or you bring it about.
It's more likely to happen because then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
On that note, listen to this. This is an idea that I was thinking about. The anxiety of worry is almost always worse than the actual consequences that you're worrying about. So think about that. It's like you're inducing in yourself this anxiety that is unnecessary. Here's another one for you. This is by James Pierce. The perceived importance of a problem grows in proportion to the amount of attention you give it.
Yeah.
The perceived importance. In other words, everything, other people, I call them drama people. They need some kind of drama. And it's almost that drama is like the wind in their sail that moves them to the next stage and moves them forward 10 feet. And then there's another drama that drops in. And then there's something else. And they're constantly in a state of trauma.
Addicted to trauma.
Totally.
Drama.
Yeah.
And those type of, I think why people are attached to drama, those people that are attached to drama, they love drama because the drama tells them who they are. It gives them a sense of self. Because if you didn't have the drama, you'd have consistency. You'd have steady. But you'd have space. And that in that space, it's scary. It's like people love their stories because their stories tell them who they are.
Yes.
And without their stories, they don't know who they are. But if you don't know who you are and you really stand in that without fear and with an open being, like open and undefended, you stand in that and have a yearning to discover who you are, then you open up a line of communication to your true self. You discover who you are. And then from who you actually are, you open up to a future. You start sensing from who you are, the future that you're destined to live, or that's been created for you, or that's to be discovered, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But if you're living in drama, that and the worry and the drama, that creates a certain future. but it's a future that is playing small. It's the lowercase I, the identity self, that what you identify with, you're attached to that, and you know who you are in drama, and you know that you get to be right and you get to be justified and you get to make other people wrong. And it's a certain kind of dance, but it also gives you a sense of self. But consider that's the not self. It's the not you, the not real you.
Yeah.
And that's what gets bolstered.
Unfortunately, Baron, most people are born narcissists. In other words, when a baby cries, you know what? It wants what it wants. And in a sense, when you're a baby, it makes sense because you need things and you don't know how to explain it. So you cry and you scream and you hanker and you long for, and that's all you know how to do. But as you get older and you become more aware and you begin to understand the bigger picture and the pieces of the puzzle, you've got to look at, until you realize that there are other alternatives for you other than only thinking about yourself. And here's what Jordan B. Peterson, I love Jordan Peterson, by the way. He says, if you fulfill your obligations every day, you don't need to worry about the future. But narcissism makes you focus only on the things that matter to you. And that is a huge distraction many times from what actually matters. And so the differentiation has to be made. Go ahead.
Oh, as you were speaking, and even about a baby cries for what it needs, right? It's how it communicates and it can get its needs met. Change my diaper, or I'm hungry or thirsty, But then immature people, as they grow out of being babies, then they cry and throw tantrums, not for what they need, but for what they want.
Yes. Yes.
And there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And perhaps an immature person cries and throws tantrums for what they need because they don't have the capacity yet to communicate it in a mature way.
Yes.
They haven't owned their power and the ability to communicate and speak straight and be straight and ask for what's needed. But typically, I think drama people, they cry for what they want. And then when they don't get it, they are the victim. And then they get to make other people wrong. And being right is like heroin for a human being. So people will form their whole lives addicted to that kind of rush of being just right. But we're not talking about right, wrong in morals in a sense or behaviors, but it's more this being right in pride, ego, kind of being right as bolstering oneself up better than others, superior, morally superior to others. And if someone doesn't give you what you want, you are out to kill them off, cancel them, ruin them, pour salt on their name. You become a social justice warrior, or what have you. You become a clown like that, but it's really out of an immaturity. It's not out of real experience in life. Life doesn't work that way because that's hell. Living like that is hell. If you're a baby, go at it, have at it. You're designed to communicate that way. But if you're an adult baby, still you're 30 years old, stuck in your terrible twos, that's hell. And it only leads to a future of hell.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you never grow out of that baby stage, and you cry, and there's a woman that I deal with in my work right now who comes in and she immediately starts talking about all of her problems. And what you really want to say, no, it's true. She was
I believe you. It's just the way you say it. It's funny. You have to hold your nose and listen. Right?
But what you want to say to her is, look, you know what? Nobody cares about your problems. That's what I want to say to her.
We're here to work. We're here to get something done.
Yeah. But really, what I would say to her is, what you're looking for is not solutions to your problems, but you're just looking for attention, and you're looking for somebody to put those problems in, because misery loves company. And so if you stop looking for that next person that's going to agree with you or commiserate with you, and it's just step back for a minute and look at your life and realize that, let me tell you something, worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. You lose everything when you start to worry, and it consumes you. And then worry becomes this empty black hole where you want other people to join you because you're so bereft of who you could be as you continue to feed yourself into that. And I want to say one more thing by Ileana Van Zandt. She said, worry stagnates the mind, creates an imbalance in the immune system, and impairs the ability to see beyond the thing being worried about.
I know her, by the way. Yeah, I know her. She's a friend of mine, distant friend. But
she's awesome. Yeah,
I haven't talked to her in years, but she's awesome.
It's just, we're talking about this because the person started by saying, I want to live in the present, but I'm worried about my future. You've got to just step back. You're draining yourself. And even just stepping back for just a moment at a time. That's the idea. It's don't measure everything by a tape measure. You know, you got these 100-foot long tape measures. Just get out your little 1-foot ruler and measure by increments of 1/8 of an inch. That's all you have to do. Baby steps. Instead of being a baby, start taking baby steps toward letting go and letting God. And I will tell you, my prayer for everyone would be, Father above me, pour yourself into me so that I can be more like the person you want me to be. That's as simple as it gets. Yeah.
I just received that as you spoke that.
Wow.
I felt it right in my visceral body. Yeah. So let's wrap this up with a couple last thoughts here. But
all right.
I think there's something about the future. So coming back to the question is, well, what determines your future? And I think the first step is, let go, give up who you're not, give up all that worry. Now, you may need to keep giving it up and letting it go and giving it up and letting it go how often as you need to, and keep for how long, for as long as it takes. But what you have access to in the moment is stillness, quiet. Like, get quiet and discover who are you? Like, just, it's a good, who am I? Like, no, who am I actually? Okay, so I have all these worries about that could happen. And if they all came true, your worst worries came true, who would you be in the face of all of that? Who would you be in the face of your greatest fears coming true? Who will you be for yourself and for others in the face of all that? But here's my point. If you get to who you are, if you create that line of communication to who you are, I say and this is from my experience, you will get the promptings of where to go. You'll have access then to a scene, and maybe you use your creative imagination to create that scene of who are you in the future? Who are you? Are you your true self? The person you're becoming isn't more of a not you, but it's actually you. Like, the true you is who you're becoming. And then envision that. Who are the people around when you're being that fullest expression of the true you? And when I say true you, I'm also speaking from a line of communication to your creator, something greater than yourself that's coming through you and fulfilling who you are and giving you those promptings, guidance, and you're following the calling of your conscience at each step. And you may not see the light beyond, 5 feet or just the next baby step to take, but you trust that intuition, that guidance. You take that step and you take the next step as you're given to see it. And maybe you'll misstep, several missteps, but you choke chain yourself back and you get back to true north, and you have the scene that's pulling you and the kind of people, the kind of accomplishment or creations in your life that are in alignment with that true you is the vision to hold and to live true by and to measure your actions by?
Jordan Peterson says it this way, exactly what you're saying. Start to stop doing what you know to be wrong.
Wait, say that again?
Jordan Peterson,
Mhm.
start to stop doing what you know to be wrong. Now, if you can just identify one thing.
Mm.
I used to realize years ago, if I could just learn one thing a day, that's 365 things a year, and in 10 years, I will have learned 3,650 things, whatever it may be.
Mm.
So change is accumulative. Begin to stop doing what you know to be wrong. Here's another great one from Jordan Peterson, by the way. You should never sacrifice what you could be for what you are.
Mm.
A lot of
Yeah.
people do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah,
another
very
one
good.
from Jordan. What you aim at determines what, and here's a beautiful one from Jordan Peterson. This is very Christian sounding. To learn to die voluntarily and be born again in great ways and small.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very
you got
good.
to sacrifice
Yeah.
this life. Let it go.
Yeah, and what there is to sacrifice are all of your expectations. Give up all the your opinions. Give up all your judgments. Give up all your shoulds and should nots. Things shouldn't be this way or they should be that way. Give up all your knowingness that is really the source of worry. Give all that up. Empty out. Give up to get empty. And empty out that which, as Michelangelo said, God, he'd walk through the streets of Florence with a big slab of marble and he'd say that God had already envisioned and created the statue within. And he said that his job was to simply remove the excess marble and get to the creation there. That's all. All right, you all, thank you for another episode, staying here and this deep and far into the conversation. We appreciate you. Keep disrupting and rising above the drift. Challenge the norm and create a new narrative for your life. I'm Baron Baptiste, signing off. Until next time, stay true, stay bold, stay blessed, and let's rewrite the narrative in this world and in our lives together for a better and elevated world. Peace be with you.